The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Casa Grande, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33839. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks located on the frame rail on the passenger and driver's side. Moving up onto the face of the bumper on the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Located just on the outside of the frame rail, you'll find two air horns. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the bumper extension. In the very center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your hose tray. Moving just slightly to the right in the image is where you'll find your 1.5-inch swivel discharge. Let's move up onto the face of the cab, where you'll find on the outer edges your marker and turn light. Just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beams. Moving further up, you'll find emergency warning lights. On the outer edges, you'll find mirrors housing a convex and flat mirror. Located in the center, you'll find windshield wipers, center nestled. Moving up to the very top, you'll find the brow, which has 5 clearance lights. Moving up just above that onto the roof itself, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the very center, you'll find your opticom. And then just above that opticom is where you'll find your directional spotlight. Let's go ahead and take a look from the side of the vehicle. You'll find on the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. Moving now to the headlight structure, you'll find the low and high beam. The high beam will located on the inside, low beam located on the outside. Moving downward, you'll find next to the side-facing emergency warning light your auto-eject 30-amp shore power inlet. Just behind the emergency warning light is where you'll find your battery posts for negative and positive. Here's a close-up of the shoreline inlet. This is an auto-eject plug 30-amp. Quick view here of your department logo. We'll move back to the next compartment. This is just over the front tire. You'll find a compartment housing a pull-out tray. The lower section of the pull-out tray is where you'll find the release mechanism. This compartment does have LED lighting and also adjustable shelf in the upper portion. Moving to the very back of the cab corner, you'll find a tank indicator. Moving further up, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And then all the way at the very top of this image, you'll find on the rear wall a pole light. At the bottom of that pole light is where you'll find your driver's side scene light. It is a cupped switch. Let's now take a quick look at the pump panel area. Just to the right of it, you'll find this warning label regarding entanglement. And because of those hoses coming from a loft, there is a possibility of entanglement. As we look to the midsection, you'll find all of your crosslays here, number 1, number 2, and also a 2.5-inch crosslay. The release mechanism is on the top. This is a standing and walkable surface. And there is 2 grab handles, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Moving just beneath that area, you'll find a through compartment, dry deck material, and LED lighting inside this area. As we now move to the midsection of the pump panel, a couple identifying warning labels here. Do not ride on the side of your apparatus for fear of fall. There's also a warning label here regarding that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after receiving proper training. And then also a warning label that caps may be under pressure and be cautious while removing them. Down the lower section, you'll find an additional warning label here regarding standing or riding on the side or climbing on the side of the apparatus. As we move to the very top of the apparatus in the pump panel area, let's first start on the left-hand side with the pump intake. This is your master gauge. Moving just to the right, you'll find your pump discharge. This is also the master gauge. Let's move just to the right in this image where you'll find 2 indicators. First, the red, which is your foam level module. And then moving to the right, you'll find an additional water tank level. This is for the water inside your water tank.
Moving just to the right, you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of this speaker does have the ability to dampen the sound. Moving just down from that, you'll find the transmission oil temperature. This is a warning light and will be amber in color if illuminating. You also have an analog gauge down the lower section indicating the transmission temperature. Let's move to the gray area, which is your engine information. On the outer edge, you'll find the oil, water, volts, and fuel levels. As we move to the very center, you'll find the tachometer. There are some warning indicators here. First, let's start at the very top with the transmission check. This is going to be an amber indicator if illuminated, and you'll also find an amber indicating check engine. As we move through the rest of the indicators, you'll find a red stop engine. You'll also find oil, battery will also be stop engines, and also a red water temperature. Down in the lower section, you'll find an amber, a fuel, which is indicating low fuel. Down in the lower section, you'll find once again an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does have the ability to dampen the sound. As we move across this section, I'm not going to cover all of the discharges, but you can see they're clearly color-coded and also labeled. And then also the color references the gauge located directly above. Let's go ahead and move to the upper right-hand corner where you'll find this module, the Extend-A-Gun, which will allow you to raise and lower your MasterStream device in addition with controlling it through the EXM. To the right, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Just beneath that, you'll find the recirculating line. It is a twist, not a pull. Moving further to the right in the image, you're going to find your pressure throttle governor. We'll go over that in just a few moments. As I move down to the lower section, you'll find a warning label here and also a green indicator that your pump has properly been engaged and ready to engage the throttle, and also an audible alarm down just beneath that location. As we move down to the blue module on the left-hand side of the image, this is going to be your Hercules CAF system for compressed air foam, and then moving to the right, this will be your foam system. Also moving further to the right, you'll find the tank fill and recirculating line. As I move down from that location, you'll find the tank to pump. Moving all the way to the left in the image, and the left-hand side of the image is where you'll find the air inlet. And as I move to the right across the bottom, you'll find a location for plugging in for your headset system for the pump operator. Moving further to the right, you'll find a black placard indicating Pierce. This is your minimum operation maintenance schedule. Just next to that placard will be the instructions regarding that operational placard. Moving to the right, you'll find the large diameter pump intake behind the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo. Here's some close-ups of the images that we just talked about. First, your Hercules CAF system on the left-hand side in the blue module. As we move to the upper portion, you'll find the extender for up and down for your MasterStream device, and then the control module. There also is an indicator OK to pump. It's green. It will be illuminated if you properly engage your pump from exiting the cab. As we move to the right, you'll find the pressure throttle governor by Pierce. This does have an idle button in red. Moving to the right, you'll find a preset button if you choose to set presets for pump pressures. And then also moving down, you'll also find the menu or silence button that will be in blue. This allows you to scroll through the various menu functions. As we move to the center in green, you'll find the mode. You have either PSI or RPM, so pressure or throttle mode. Those are the two indication modes that you have. In the yellow, you'll find the increase and decrease. Across the very bottom, you'll find diagnostic information for your battery, water temperature, and oil. As we move down, you'll find a green indicator. Unless this green indicator is on, you should not increase the throttle. It does have a warning label, and then just beneath that, you'll have an audible alarm that does have the outer edge capable of being to dampen that sound. As we move down, you'll find the electric primer. It is a push button. And then moving to the right, you'll find a couple of items here. First, your pump shift, and then also your pump drain. Let's continue down to the lower section where you'll find your wattress placard. This is the indication of the type of pump that you have and the capacity of 1,500 GPMs. We also have some warning labels here regarding do not mix foam brand consistencies or types for possibility of foam failure. To the right, you'll find your auxiliary foam functions. And just inside behind the pan door is where you'll find a yellow handle. It coincides with the informational guide on the back side of the door. As I move down to the lower left section, this is an outlet for your CAF system. It is also for your air compressor. Across the very bottom, you'll find all your associated color-coded drains. And then to the right, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. It is a female inlet. Down in the lower section, just under near the step area, is where you'll find your foam pump intake drain and foam pump discharge drain. A couple of side views here of the side of the apparatus. We'll go through some of those images next here and discuss some of the items. Across the very top, you'll find your department name. And as we move all the way to the top, this is going to be the location for your master stream device, and this is the extended gun that we referenced earlier. As I move to the very back, you'll find the hydraulic oil reservoir. There is a drain location down in the lower section in red, and then also a visible sight gauge located on the side. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find the fill location for your water tank and foam. There is a warning label regarding that foam failure hazard. The top of the cab is not a walkable surface. That's why we have these warning labels here, not to walk on. But you do have a roll-up door. It is or has the capability of supporting a firefighter's weight. As we move down to the next set of compartments, you'll find a pull-out tray on the lower section and an adjustable shelf on the upper portion with dry deck material. Inside the same compartment, you're going to find a few items here. We'll talk about that. First, when plugged into shore power, you'll find this green indicator illuminating, which will activate the battery charge system and also your air compressor system to maintain air compressor while your vehicle is parked. You'll also find a S1 indicating shore power. This is the breaker box. When you're plugged into shore power, this will be activated. As we move just in front of the rear wheel, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location and retaining straps. Over the rear wheel, you'll find an additional long compartment, dry deck material, and adjustable shelf capabilities. Down in the lower right-hand side of this image, you're going to find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. That's the silver cap. As we move up, you'll find the blue cap, which is the 4.5 DEF tank. As I move to the very rear, you'll find adjustable shelving and also a tray down the lower section. To the rear of the apparatus, we'll find your turn, brake, and also reverse light. You also have scene lights and emergency warning lights located in this area. Let's go ahead and move through some of the items within the rear section of your apparatus. We'll first start at the very top with a rear-facing scene light. There is one on the passenger and also on the driver's side. Located directly in the center is where you'll find your traffic advisor. Just beneath that traffic advisor, you'll find the camera for your backup system. You'll also find this warning label because of the discharge. Caps may be under pressure, so be cautious when removing those caps. This is a 2.5-inch rear discharge. Just beneath that rear discharge, you'll find a pan door, which allows you to lift and turn on the latch. Once you've lifted and turned, you'll gain access to your 10-foot folding ladder and then also 2 locations for long tool-handled storage. A couple of close-ups here of the traffic advisor and also the camera system. As we move to the center roll-up compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf in the upper portion and a pull-out tray down in the lower section. You'll also find on the opposite side additional storage locations for long tool storage on that lift and turn. A couple of quick images here. This is the side of the apparatus, passenger side, where you'll find your 24-foot and 14-foot roof ladder. We'll identify some of the information here within those compartments. First, the very rear compartment, dry deck material, adjustable shelving, LED lighting in these compartments, and ventilation. You'll also find SCBA bottle storage location with retaining straps. As we move just over the rear tire, you'll find dry deck material and LED lighting in the long compartment. Just beneath that, you'll find an SCBA bottle storage location, once again with retaining straps. You'll also find this warning label here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. As we move to the very top, the yellow triggered handle here is going to be the activate and lock release for your cab release system. We'll talk about that in a moment. As we move to the side pump panel, we'll find 2.5-inch discharges located in this area. You'll also find a large diameter pump intake. That's going to be the Pierce American Flag Eagle. And then just next to it, you'll find your large diameter discharge, which will be located in green. You'll also find an access door for the manual hydraulic rack system. There are instructions just inside. This allows you to lower the flap here so you can gain additional access behind the pump panel. You'll also find your intake relief valve. As we move to the powered equipment rack, you'll find instructions on the powered equipment rack for raising and also lowering. We do have some danger labels here. This is very cautious when you move the vehicle or when you're going to lower that rack. There is a switch for on and off and also a lift up and down switch. As we move inside, once again behind the pump panel, you'll find your strainer behind the 2.5-inch cap. And then you'll also find your cab lift. The lower section is where you'd plug in the remote. You do have a red lower and raise, lock release, and then activate. Across the very bottom, you'll find all your associated and color-coded drains. And then you'll also find these style, which are going to be twist for your relief valve drain and also water strainer. Once again, as we look through this compartment, this is the through compartment at the very rear section of the cab area. As we move forward into the cab, same configuration as the driver's side, pull-out tray, adjustable shelving. As we look inside the cab here, you'll find 3 work lights, and also you'll find your 2 seats nestled in the rear section and also a center folding seat located in the very center. Overhead, you'll find your 12-volt air conditioning and then also your shore-powered air conditioning. You'll also find across the rear wall your 3 headset systems and also 2 fans located above. This is your air conditioning control unit. As we move to the forward section, you'll find on the left-hand side there's an access panel. This accesses all of your fuses, and on the right-hand side this will access the top of the motor for all of your transmission and oil checks. Let's move now from this position here. We'll move just to the very forward section. Directly behind the rear seat of the officer's location is where you'll find your headset control module. And then you'll also find, as we look through the cab, your comfort control for your 110 air conditioning unit. As we move through the cab, affixed to all the entry points for firefighters, you'll find this set of labels. These are your warning labels for firefighter safety. Also, as you look to the center of the cab, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system. We'll talk about that next. You do have 2 foot pedals on the lower section, your siren and your electronic siren. You'll also find on the dash the Go Light control module, and then also your SRS or supplemental restraint system. This vehicle is equipped with an airbag. Located in the center section, you'll find your vehicle data recorder port, and then you'll also find when you're in reverse, the speaker activation. There is a sound control on that speaker itself for the operator. Moving also in the center section for the operator, you'll find your main mirror controls. For the officer position, you'll find a intense reading light and also access for your stereo system. This does have a weather band and also CD player and also auxiliary inputs. Moving to the very center of the apparatus, you'll find your siren control and PA speaker system. Just beneath that, you'll find your traffic advisor. What I'd like to point out is directly behind this in the center location is a red flashing light indicating that you're not to move your vehicle. Do not move. You have a compartment door or your ladder rack is down. Moving on to the left, once again, point of entry, we have those warning labels and then also some warning labels at about the right ankle of the operator. Let's talk a little bit about this placard. This is the manufactured by Pierce, December of 2019 with your job number. It also has gross vehicle weight ratings, cold tire inflation, your VIN number, and then all of your components, fluid capacities, and fluid types for your vehicle. Let's move just to the point of entry here where you'll find an air indicator. This is going to be your unit air of your vehicle. To the right, you'll also find a master step switch. This is for your folding steps for gaining access into the cab. And then also to the right, you'll find a battery voltage indicator. This will activate when plugged into shore power. As we move just to the rear of the seat location, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. And then at the floor level, you'll find your electronic siren and mechanical siren foot pedals. As we move up to about the left knee, starting on the left, you'll find the seatbelt alarm. Once again, it does have the ability to dampen that sound. You'll also find 3 locations here: command zone, driveline diagnostic, and DS display. Those are going to be control modules for your service department. To the right, engine diagnostics and ABS. As we move up from this location, you'll find your master battery switch. It is the red quarter turn switch. And then you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions on the pump shift, but you need 2 green indicators before exiting the cab for pump operations. Let's move up from this location to the dash itself. On the left-hand side of the column, you'll find the panel switch, which allows you to brighten or dim the panel. Just beneath that, you'll find your ignition and start switch. And at the very top section, you'll find your headlight switch and also parking lights. Let's now move to the center section, and we'll talk a little bit about the dash. We'll start at the very bottom where you have your transmission, oil, DEF level, fuel level, front and rear air. Moving up in the center, you'll find the speedometer and tachometer. On the outer edge, you'll find water temperature and volts. You'll also find turn indicators. I'd like to point in the upper left-hand corner to this placard regarding your height, 11 feet 0 inches, your length, 34 feet 2 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 53,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments or changes to your vehicle, please update this placard for your operators. Let's go ahead and move just to the right of this location where you'll find diagnostic informational display or warning information displayed on the right-hand side of the column. Just beneath that, you'll find a release mechanism for your med box, DPF regen inhibit, and also your SRS fault system for your airbag system. General view of the right-hand side of the cab area. Let's specifically talk about some of the items. This is your Allison transmission pad with an indication here to pump in drive. As we move to the upper left-hand corner of this image, you'll find climate control. Just down from that, you'll find 2 switch panels. We'll talk about those switch panels in just a moment. To the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. A tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual for more information on how to operate this or scroll through the various menu functions. Beneath that, you'll find your system parking brake, pull to apply, push to release, and then to the right, you'll find the go light, which is your spotlight directly above the emergency warning light bar. This is your climate control for cool or hot, and also fan speed. As we move through the next set of switches, you'll find emergency master, roof light, front warning lights, side warning lights. In the next section down, you'll find lower, rear, and upper rear warning. You'll find your alley lights for passenger and driver's side. As we move down to the next switch panel, you'll find your high beam flash, your opticom, roof light clear, opticom momentary, siren brake, air horn, electric siren, and mechanical siren. Let's go ahead and move just a quick view of the top of the cab. Once again, we'll point out that red indicator. Do not move your apparatus if that light is flashing, indicating a compartment or door ajar. We'll now start in the upper left-hand corner. This is over the head of the driver position. You have your cruise lights, your load manager, auto lube fault, a rear scene, driver side scene, and passenger side scene. The other 2 switches are programmable if necessary. To the right, you'll find your engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, a high idle, OK to engage the high idle indicator, mirror heat, and an off-road traction. Congratulations, Casa Grande, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus. If you have questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.